G'day chaps, I thought I'd show you this quite spectacular settlement in Rome II while I talk about what I would like to see in the next Total War. And it's not the one they've announced, unfortunately. I don't care about this new game they've announced. I'm just not interested. I am a fan of historical Total Wars. I'm a real history nerd, so looking at this kind of settlement in detail like this, you know, I think this is fascinating stuff. And the fact they've got this bridge and they've destroyed it, and then these stones here, I just think it's fantastic to be in this sort of setting. And I really like with Rome II, which is what this is, it really gets me into that sort of time period. And yeah, I am a history nerd. And yeah, it's one of the big reasons I enjoy it. So, this fantasy stuff just doesn't do it for me. And it really just hasn't. I tried the last game, wasn't really particularly interested in it. So I just didn't really play it very much, which was disappointing, really. I'm just gonna get these 4 cohort at the front here. I'm just gonna get them to leave their siege weapons out the way. Just let me set everyone up, and then I'll carry on talking. Oops. Drop. That's what I wanted. It's tricky to do this at the same time. Right. Cool. So I can start the battle at least. There we go. Yeah. Now I checked out Reddit, which is always the best place to go and look at what's really going on with video games. And I took a look at what people have been saying about what the next historical Total War might be. And I read a few threads on it, a few discussions, and it basically seemed to come down to 2 things. And I'm going to attack right there, by the way, right by the river, because I'm going to take out this arrow tower and I'm going to make a hole here, because they can't shoot me from the other side, so coming in by the river makes total sense. Yeah, so it came down to 2 main things, and those things were either World War I would be excellent. Actually, there were 3. Now I think about it. One of them was World War I, and then there were quite a few people who kind of supported that idea, and then quite a few people who said that would be very hard to implement and it wouldn't really fit Total War. So it was kind of a mixed bag. And then you had another, which was kind of a call for the colonial era, or the almost Victorian time. And that was kind of shot down because Total War have apparently stated that they're not going to go back to a previous time period. And that seems to be common knowledge. So, if they're really not going back to a previous time period, that pretty much only leaves World War I, essentially, or, my favourite, China. And myself and my best mate, who's been on this channel a couple of times, we both reckon that China, especially the Warring States period, before China became a single unified entity, we both believe that would be fascinating. Wow, I can just see shit tons of men crossing the river over there. It's them all piling onto this side. They've realised where my armies are. So I do have 2 armies, by the way. I have an absolute shit ton of troops. This is Rome in its full night. Unfortunately, I've forgotten how to zoom, so I'd really love to get in on these characters, but I can't. I've forgotten what the zoom is. Yeah, very much enjoying playing Rome 2 again. I'm playing this campaign where I play Mark Antony, So everybody knows the name Augustus, right? And Augustus he became the first emperor, basically. But at one point, he was part of a triumvirate, which means 3 leaders. So there were 3 leaders of the Roman world, and then that became 2 leaders, and that was the guy who became Augustus, and then Mark Antony. And on paper, Mark Antony should have become the Roman emperor. But basically, from what I read, it turns out he just didn't want it enough. He didn't fight for it enough. He wasn't bloodthirsty enough, whereas Augustus just ruthlessly followed power, and he was a very good statistician as well. So Mark Antony was a military general, while Octavian, as he was known before he became Augustus, was very much the strategist. Cool. I'm going to keep this video fairly short. I just wanted to kind of chat about what I'd like to see. I'm not really going to expand on the China thing because I'm not massively knowledgeable about the troop types, and I can't nerd out on it yet. It's the sort of broad concept. I know there was a massive variety of troops. I know there were different languages. I know China was not this homogeneous group at all. And, you know, these states within China that fought, they were as big as countries. They were bigger than European countries. They had enormous populations. You know, it's like the equivalent of 3 or 4 European countries fighting each other as blocks at the same time. You know, it was like World War type stuff. And their armies were just vast, to the tens or hundreds of thousands. And it was a mixture of weaponry, chariots, crossbows, peasantry, drafted, conscripted armies. Just enormous numbers, and just fascinating. So I truly hope they do that, and do it in the way that they did this game, but especially Empire, where they had that information. It was like an encyclopedic as well, so I could actually learn about the history. I mean, those are the best for me Total Wars there are. So yeah, I truly hope they go back to the historical Total War with something fresh. That's all from me. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I hope you found that little chat interesting. I want to hear what you think, so post your comments in the description and we'll have a little chat. I'll join in with you because I'm curious, and see what you think. Yeah, and keep it clean. Ciao.